Sports Radio program. Nice to have you with us as we talked about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned on this busy afternoon as we chat to you about the world of sports as we chat and take you home here. You heard Steve Phillips say a lot of baseball. We obviously talked some Celtics and we talked some Cavs. So let's start there for a minute or two and then a little Golden State. And then we will go from other things here in the course of their day. As you know, Boston last night, LeBron looked tired. Boston took advantage. Excellent at home, have not lost a home playoff game yet. LeBron had a very quiet 26. He had absolutely no help from that supporting cast. Now listen, Nance did his thing and Clarkson made a couple of shots, but overall, the body of that supporting cast, JR, George Hill, people like that, did not help him significantly, and he needed it last night in the worst way, unlike the 56 that they gave him on Game 4 2 nights ago, Monday night. They did not give him any of those points last night, and as a result, the Celtics win that game going away. Cavaliers quietly into the night. 3-2 now. Game 6 is tomorrow night. I'd be very, very, very surprised if Cleveland does not win that game tomorrow night. I think you'd be looking at a Game 7, which should obviously be on Sunday night, right in the middle of the Memorial Day weekend, which would be a big event. Haven't had a close game yet in that series. I don't think you're going to get a close game tomorrow night either. I think that game will be Cavaliers are already a 7-point favorite. Very surprised if LeBron lost a Game 6 at home and got his season wiped out at home. I would be very, very surprised if that occurred. I really would. So from that standpoint, I remember when he's lost in the postseason in the past, he's done it on the road. They lost in Orlando. They lost in Boston. I would be surprised if he lost his series at home. So we'll keep an eye. He lost in Golden State last year. We'll see what happens there in game number 6 tomorrow night. I think it is Sunday night. They're Game 7, and that is, a very, very. That's a fascinating game. The best player against the best arena, at least the best city in the history of the NBA, throwing the fact that this young team hasn't lost a game at home. The home court in a Game 7 against LeBron. That is, that's enticing. Maybe we'll get a close game there. Golden State, Houston tonight, of course, a Game 5. You can go either way with this game tonight. You could, Rockets are a slight favorite, which tells you that the betting public is split right down the middle. It's a 1-point choice for Houston. You can go the angle that they faced death, the Rockets, in Game 4. They stared down the Goliath eyeball to eyeball, and the other guy blinked. You can go with that argument that obviously Golden State maybe a little fatigued after the last 4 or 5 years, a little banged up. Iguodala and Klay Thompson are both question marks tonight, or questionable before the game begins. You could do that if you wish. You also could go the other way, that Golden State has the more talent, the better lineup, the better team, and the idea that, maybe this is a wake-up call and Houston went to all ends just to win that game the other night, and maybe they'll be a little fatigued. You can go either way you want. Regardless of tonight, I think there's going to be another game in Houston in the 7th game. So I don't think I'm not sure if tonight's going to determine who wins this series. So I don't want to make too big a deal about it. We all know if Golden State wins tonight, they're going to win in Game 6. If Golden State loses tonight, they still could win Game 7. Let me see how the game develops before I have an opinion about what it might mean long term. I mean, if Golden State gets blown out tonight, that'd be a very bad sign. If they lose another heartbreaker, I don't know. Let me get a little sense of the game. It's very tricky to read Golden State's body language right now. I mean, are they actually vulnerable? I mean, have they lost some of their aura? Would another loss, 2 in a row, face an elimination game, 2 of them? Would that bring this into the forefront? Remember, LeBron, came from 3-1 down to beat Golden State. Golden State crumbled amongst the LeBron pressure. Durant crumbled against the Golden State pressure 2 years ago. Golden State has already left a championship on the table. Will they leave another one on the table in 4 years? I have to wait and see. It's a fascinating game tonight. That's, of course, a game number 5 in Houston. That's a very good crowd, by the way. I was there for their championship. That is a very good crowd. They'll be into it tonight. They got a little history of winning. Houston's got a little thing going now with all the issues they've had to deal with that city. The Astros. It's a tall order for Golden State tonight. Let's see how they handle it. That's item number 2. The Ohtani thing against the Yankees. It's Cubs-Giants, by the way, on Sunday night this week. Not Angels-Yankees. But the Ohtani thing does bother me. That's the Angels protecting Ohtani. They don't want to have him face the Yankee lineup. It's got nothing to do with overload and all that nonsense. It has to do, let's give him soft landing spots. He pitched against the Astros. He had no choice. He pitched against the Red Sox there because he was slated to go in that part of the rotation. He did not pitch against the Yankees the first time, and he's not going to pitch against the Yankees the second time. Now, think about this for a second. This is another issue with baseball. It's like LeBron not playing against, the Spurs. He sits out and doesn't play in these games. Don't you want Ohtani against the Yankee lineup here? Ohtani's been the story of the first 25% of the season. The Yankees are the Yankees. It's in New York. Showcase New York. They played 6 games against the Yankees already this year, and the Angels have done everything known to man to keep him away from that Yankee ball club. Now, I know you can make an argument it's a practical and it's a sound decision. He's a young kid. It's not a divisional game. Why push the envelope, blah, blah, blah. We'll let him bat at Yankee Stadium. We're not going to let him pitch at Yankee Stadium. And I will grant you, part of the fascination of Ohtani is offense. And he's a left-hand hitter at Yankee Stadium. People will get into that. But I think people want to see him pitch, too. I think they want to see both. And the fact that New York won't get it, I'm not trying to make New York out to be a big deal, but the Yankees are. The Yankees are the home office for Major League Baseball. And the fact that the Angels have said no to Ohtani in New York, and he didn't pitch against the Yankees in Anaheim, and they played on Sunday night and didn't pitch, that's a problem for baseball. You want to showcase your big stars against the big teams. And, a lot of times these franchises want to protect their stars because they have so much money invested in them. Not so much with Ohtani with the Angels, but they have their future invested in them. And they figure, you know what? Our job is not to buzz up or spruce up the sport. And why let him go against the Yankees, overthrow, and try to make a point against that great Yankee lineup, and then he gets buried and he loses his confidence, and we got to regroup here in the next 4 weeks. Why do that? So as a result, they don't pitch him at all, which is too bad because you would have enjoyed. I'll tell you right now, if Ohtani was pitching against the Yankees this weekend, okay, I myself, who doesn't like to root for the Yankees, I myself would make it my business, whether it was Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and let me see if the games, what time the games are. Yankees always play weekend day games, so I'm sure the game's Friday and Saturday, and it's not a 4-game series. I'm sure the games Friday and Saturday are at 1 o'clock. Let's see. Friday and Saturday, the games against the Angels. Saturday's at 7:15. It's on Fox. Wow. And then Sunday at 1:05. So Saturday is on Fox. I'll tell you right now, if that game Saturday night, if Ohtani was pitching that game on Fox against the Yankees at 7:15, I would make it my business to be in front of a TV set the first few innings. If he was on Sunday at 1 o'clock, now it's Sunday in the daytime a little harder, I would make it my business to be on top of that game. Whether I see an inning or two, obviously be in a situation where I listen to it, I would be on top of that game. Tyler Skaggs against the Yankees, I'm not going to make it my business. I'm sorry. I know I'll follow it, but it's going to be, if I miss it, that's not the end of the world. Ohtani against the Yankees, I would have been there. So that tells you everything you need to know. That's a problem for the sport. You want to showcase your big stars. He's a huge star. And then finally, we got the whole scenario going on with the Capitals. We haven't mentioned them yet today. I haven't heard from Scott in Tampa today, who called me up about 2 weeks ago and basically said, why is Washington even bothering playing Tampa in this semifinal? They're going to get their doors blown off. They never have a good track record in big situations. They're a gutless team, and we're the big, mighty Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, what happened last night? Washington went down to Tampa. They scored with a minute gone in the game, and then, of course, from there on in, they had no issues whatsoever and beat Tampa 4-0. Now, I did not see a good part of that second period. I followed it. I didn't see it. I don't know if Tampa dominated that second period and had nothing to show for it. I can look at the shots on goal, but I do know I saw enough of the series to tell you that Washington, for the most part, was the much better team. Tampa outshot them 12-6 in the second period. That Washington, over the period of time, was a much, much, much better team than Tampa was, and they deserve to be where they are. So now you have, in essence, what I love as far as this Cup final is concerned. A big theme of mine all week was Vegas haven't earned the right to play for a championship. 1 year in, the NHL did everything in its power to give the owner and that franchise and that questionable market, an opportunity to have a good team. So they lessened the expansion rules. They made it easy to get a big goalie. They didn't expect this, but they wanted them to be competitive. They got that and a lot more. And then, of course, the Capitals, who have been around forever, have never won a cup. Previous one cup final, swept by the Red Wings in '98. Ovechkin, who has been, one of the best players in the league for a long, long time, with, nary a conference final appearance, much less the NHL final, now finds himself in a situation where here he is. Now, the one thing I would say is that the Capitals really had to face abyss on 2 or 3 occasions in this postseason. Vegas has not really had to do that. Capitals lost their first 2 games at home to Columbus. Capitals were in trouble in overtime in Game 5 against Columbus. Capitals had their nemesis in round 2, were down a game after a terrible loss and a 2-0 lead in Game 1. Capitals, obviously, in this series lost 3 games in a row, were in trouble here down 3-2, and came back and won 2 games. So from that standpoint, you have to sit there and you have to give the Capitals a lot of credit. They've won 1 million road games. They won 3 road games in Tampa. They won 2 road games in Pittsburgh, which is 5, and they won 3 road. They've won 8 road games in the postseason so far. They will have no problems playing road games in Vegas. Vegas, of course, has been everybody's darling. They've had a tremendous season. Their transition game is superb. Their goalie has played really, we know Fleury has been more than good. They have a great crowd. They have a little layoff right out of the gate, but you have, old guard, new guard, as far as the Cup final is concerned. Now, Craig Laughlin is one of these folks who has been with us here